offering only the finest in PC enthusiast apparel. Awesome Sauce shirts are not only threaded, they're hyper-threaded and come factory overclocked. Get yours today at the Awesome Sauce store.
What's up guys? So if you happen to catch my recent GTX 980 Ti 2-way SLI video, you probably also heard my big announcement that I'm currently planning my first ever custom water-cooled build, which will also feature the same beastly dual card setup. Now, having a powerful graphics solution is key to building an epic gaming PC, sure, but as we all know, all components of a computer should be more or less on par with each other in terms of quality and performance in order to achieve a cohesive and well-balanced rig. Perhaps that's explanation enough as to why I have this wickedly built and feature-packed motherboard sitting pretty in my office. Say hello to the Asus Sabertooth X99, and give him a warm welcome to the Awesome Sauce family because I've officially selected it to go inside of my custom water-cooled PC. Not only are you going to get to see this board in action, but today I'll be conducting a proper full review of it as well, so you can learn or be reminded of what makes this board special. While much of its charm is obscured within the details of its specs and server-grade componentry, the rest of what sets this board apart can be seen at a glance. Asus's tough branded thermal armor is nothing new to their Sabertooth line, but I'm glad to see the aggressive military cover plate make its return to their X99 board. The two-tone plastic shroud in black and gunmetal gray looks combat ready with its bold edges and diamond plate pattern. Surely this kind of design is a love or hate affair, but based on the circumstances, you can probably guess which way I swing. Stop. Not only does this give the board a truly unique aesthetic, it offers thoughtful dust protection while creating a channel for airflow with the included but optional 40mm assistant fan. This implementation funnels fresh air to the pipe-connected heatsinks of your 10-phase DigiPlus VRM, creating a direct method of heat dissipation not found on most boards. The fan can also spin in reverse to eject dust upwards via the special Dust-to-Fan feature in Thermal Radar 2, which we'll touch on later. If you need full access to the board's PCB for cleaning and maintenance, the thermal armor is easily removable using the 9 screws on the back. This is where you'll also find the Tough Fortifier, a rigid metal backplate that keeps the PCB from bowing and potential trace damage when upholding heavy graphics cards or CPU coolers. A much-needed support system for my two GTX 980 Ti's. Like the thermal armor, Asus has engineered the Fortifier with versatility in mind, doubling its use as a cooling mechanism via an underlying layer of thermal padding, effectively reducing the board's temperature by up to 6 degrees Celsius. With the board exposed, here's a quick look at the integrated audio chip with dedicated amplifier and trace separation to help reduce electromagnetic interference. Up front and center, we get our 2011-3 socket for Intel's latest haswell-e CPUs, tightly sandwiched between 8 DIMM slots with support for up to 64 GB of DDR4 at 2400 MHz. The slots are painted alternately in black and dark beige, a neutral color scheme that's also been implemented across the board's many connectors. Apart from an X4 and an X1 PCIe slot, you get 3 X16 slots for 3-way Crossfire or SLI configurations, the 2 TAN slots being PCIe Gen 3 and the bottom slot running at Gen 2. If you're using a 40 PCIe lane CPU, like the 5930K or the 5960X, single and dual card setups will run at X16 across the board, whereas triple card configs have the bottom card running at X8. A 28 lane CPU, I'm talking about U5820K, will run a single card at X16, 2 cards at X16 and X8, and 3 cards at X16, 8, and 4. Removing the small cover plate between the bottom 2 PCIe slots reveals access to your CMOS battery and a stealthy M.2 M-key slot for SSDs of varying lengths. While I like the clever orientation here, M.2 support is limited to PCIe drives only, meaning the slower but cheaper SATA M.2 drives are in this case unusable. With less expensive boards supporting both protocols, this is an unfortunate limitation, but Asus scores big points back for having full SFF 8639 support when paired with the HyperKit, meaning you'll be able to utilize the full speed of PCI 3.0 X4 drives like Intel's wickedly fast 750 series NVMe SSD. The storage frenzy continues with SATA Express and 10 SATA 6 ports, 8 of which are natively controlled by the X99 chipset. Other notable I/O on the board includes 2 USB 2 and 1 USB 3 port, a Mem-OK button which bypasses memory issues that keep your system from booting, 3 temperature leads to connect the included temp nodes for tracking your system's thermals, and 11 4-pin PWM fan headers. Hopefully my new computer doesn't fly away. Managing 11 system fans is no easy task, which is why Asus has brought a ton of functionality to tune and monitor your system parameters in Thermal Radar 2, the control room, if you will, found in AI Suite 3. In addition to providing the temperatures of 10 built-in sensors and the 3 nodes that you place manually, you can also set custom fan curves for each fan, based on the thermal status of those sensors. For a more automated approach, we're all used to seeing the pre-configured silent, standard, and performance modes in similar applications, but Thermal Radar 2 goes a step further by giving you the ability to run a one-time test on your fans, to figure out each of their unique parameters, like spin-up voltage and max RPM. The software then uses that information to individually program the fan's various profiles for finer-grained tunability, a super handy feature that optimizes your case cooling with minimal effort. Though I've only just scratched the surface of this extensive software, it might actually be best for me to show it in action when the water-cooled build is finally finished, so let me know in the comments if you'd like to see a dedicated video on AI Suite 3 and Thermal Radar 2. Getting back to the hardware, Asus has decked this board out with a feature-rich I/O. For starters, you get 5 USB 2 ports, one of which is reserved for the Tough Detective feature, a technology that lets you monitor and control your system using a connected Android mobile device. Through the downloadable app, you can check details on your current postcodes, monitor temps, voltages, and fan speeds, or perform basic functions like power your system on and off, or clear the CMOS. While this ability does seem like it could prove useful, having the Android device tethered to the PC certainly limits the number of scenarios where it might be handy. Moving on, you get 2 USB 3.1 Type A ports that yield speeds up to 10 gigabits per second, or twice the throughput of USB 3. As an added bonus, these along with 4 USB 3 ports support USB 3.1 Boost, which speeds up the transfer rates of connected UASP devices. Plus, all of the USB ports on the back support AI Charger Plus, allowing you to charge your portable BC 1.1 mobile devices 3 times faster than a standard USB port. The bottom right USB 3 port also supports BIOS flashback with a dedicated button. Rounding off the I/O are your Intel and Realtek Gigabit Ethernet LAN ports, optical SPDIF out, and your 3.5mm audio jacks. With the board, you also get some nifty accessories, like these little dust defenders which plug up just about every unused port on your motherboard, the 3 temperature nodes, a Q connector for easy installation of your front panel connectors, 6 SATA cables, half of them straight, the other half right angle, a ribbon-style SLI bridge, I/O shield, stickers, documentation and driver CD, and a certificate of reliability, recognizing that the board has passed a handful of server-grade tests, which make it live up to the tough moniker by putting it in the ranks of an enterprise-level product. This, along with a 5-year warranty from Asus, demonstrates their utmost vote of confidence. I also took a tour of the board's latest UEFI, which by default boots you into easy mode, where you get a comprehensive look at basic system stats and some useful options for setting XMP profiles, enabling Intel RST, boot priority, and even a custom fan curve for any connected fans. In advanced mode, I had no problems finding certain settings as everything is clearly labeled and well organized. One big gripe I have is the clunky sideswipe transition when going from tab to tab. Waiting for the transition to finish before the selected tab is highlighted slows down the navigation process and can get annoying rather quickly. On the bright side, I was impressed by the clear descriptions for each of the settings in AI Tweaker, which should make the overclocking experience for novice users less intimidating. In case you were wondering, I did take the time to do some overclocking on this board, and was quickly able to get my 5960X up to 4.5 GHz at 1.3 volts. That's a full 100 MHz faster than I've ever been able to do on my X99 Gaming G1 Wi-Fi. So where does all of this leave my conclusion of the Sabertooth X99? Well, the tough grade componentry and attention to detail make this board feel like a quality product that exhibits toughness in the traditional sense. Not only can it withstand a high-end system teeming with some of today's bleeding-edge hardware, but it comes packaged with easily the most customizable and intuitive tuning software I've seen. The features in Thermal Radar 2 are so useful, I almost wish I had a third monitor just to have it up 24/7. In this way, Asus has not only delivered a finished product, they've delivered an experience. During my time with the board, I found myself tuning a system in ways I hadn't before, granting me a higher level of tunability that other enthusiasts are sure to geek out on for days. This, along with more features than you can count, make this X99 board a great bang for the buck option at just north of $300. While it does have some inherent flaws, the pros definitely outweigh the cons here, and I'm even more thrilled, having done this review, to start using it in my first custom loop system. But let me know what you guys think of this board in the comments below, and feel free to toss me a like on this video if you enjoyed it. Before you go,